Hello, my name is James Gardner. This is my video for our final assignment submission for this class. With going through this survey, what dispositions do you possess that make you a successful teacher? There were three that stood out to me as I went through it. One, and this is one that I really hold closely and I pride myself on as a strength as an educator, was that demonstrating professional friendliness, warmth, genuine caring in their relationships with others while providing intellectual, emotional, and spiritual support. I think having that relationship with your students as well as all your colleagues, but I'm going to focus on the students, is imperative to being a successful, effective teacher, keeping professionalism, but also letting the students know you are there to support them. A lot of kids, myself included, when I was a student, thought, school was out there to get me. But making kids know that this is a safe environment where they can learn and they can be themselves is very important to me as an educator. Believing that all students can learn and should set and support realistic expectations for student success. I think that's very crucial to my job as a special educator. I have students that have all sorts of different strengths and things that they need to work on, and in a lot of ways that's kind of my job, is to be able to see what they're coming in with strengths wise and build my lessons in my classroom around how can I support them reaching their next step in their goals. And obviously that first line, understanding all students can learn. Certain students might have specific struggles with different aspects of learning, but that does not mean in any way that they cannot learn. So that is very near and close to me as an educator. And also the third one that really stood out to me is promoting social justice, equity, maintaining appropriate standards of confidentiality, and exercise fairness in all areas, including assessment. And I think that kind of goes with, at least the way I understand it, the one before that, where all students can learn, but it's really up to you as an educator to understand what is making this assessment fair. Am I assessing what we are actually trying to assess? If a student has difficulties with reading and the assessment does not have anything to do, or what we are assessing is not their reading ability, finding ways such as test read or speech to text, things like that are very, very helpful in making sure it's equitable for all students across the board. For number two, what dispositions do I think I need to work on as an educator? There were two as I was going through that I think I could work on, and definitely I think both of them just come down to that this is me going into my second year. I only have so much experience. So for one would be recognizing that reflection combined with experience leads to growth as a professional. Now, I absolutely believe in constant reflecting as a professional, but I also, that experience piece, there were so many things going into my first year that I had no clue. I was almost naive to, that I did not have a clearer picture, and that's going to continue to happen year after year after year. There's going to be situations that I've never experienced as an educator. So that's kind of what I'm just going to continue to work on and grow. I'm going to continue to learn and get better. And then understanding the effect of community involvement and servant leadership as it applies to the welfare of others in the educational setting. I think this is just another one that I haven't had as much time to dedicate myself to. The first year, you're keeping your head above water, you're learning on the fly. I really look forward to an opportunity to coach. I don't have that opportunity yet. Maybe once this program's done and I'm kind of really comfortable with my role in the district, I'll be able to transition really easily, hopefully, to being something like a coach. That's what speaks to me the most. But whether it's coaching, music, those extracurriculars are really what, in a lot of ways, allow students to, like I said before, see school as not a bad place. It's a place where they get to engage with things that they love with their whole being, and I love that. And I loved it as a student, and I love it as an educator. A professional educator, what do they look like and how do they behave? What standards guide their thinking and actions? So, to put it broadly, a professional educator is someone who attempts or does their very best to embody the dispositions in the survey, as well as all the different principles going down that model code of ethics for educators. So, and the beautiful thing is every educator has their own personality that they mesh those ethics with. What a professional healthy relationship with their students for one person might look different than others, but that's just because of the personality difference. And at the end of the day, each educator is working towards, or a good professional educator is working towards, best serving their students. And building onto that, maintaining professionalism, whether it's in the classroom, appearance, the way you're talking to the students, engaging with parents, whether that's, face-to-face virtual meetings via email, whatever it might be. And then especially, in our modern day, social media, maintaining that professionalism, not doing anything that compromises yourself as an individual, but also your district. You are a reflection of the district you work for. And then lastly, and this is kind of a big encompassing term, but you constantly are working to provide a safe and comfortable environment that encourages students to grow. Like I said, they need to feel like you are there for their best interest. You're not there to get them. And then once that relationship and that environment is safe, they will continue to flourish. And I truly believe that. And I think those three things loosely encompass what a professional educator should look like and how they behave. So thank you very much, and thank you for all your time with this course this past month or so.